Hey guys, welcome to Choose Your Own Path. Today is Thursday, so I wanted to give you guys a little bit of a look at what's going on. I just carved this guy the other day, and I airbrushed him. So he's got some nice blue to him, and he's carved all the way in there. A little bit of, I guess, relief carving kind of thing. Yeah. So today we are going to put the epoxy on the three carvings. This guy here, where am I? And this guy, and this guy. And I'm also going to touch him up because, yeah, I just want more on it, just to be safe. If it falls, it'll break. I told you guys that before, but whatever. Also in the shop, we're working on a new snake stick. Gonna use this limb as the face, and it's got a little bit of crookedness to it, but that's okay. So that's another project to be done. Also, lots of cottonwood still available. And on that, I just had a gentleman who, his name is Paul Guesson, I guess it is. He is the Papa Frog Carvings. He is the president of, I think it's Jean de Bois, or Bois de Jean, meaning gentleman of the wood in French, my language. Great news. I ended up emailing them, not knowing that he was the president, and what happened is he wanted some of this wood. Then he found out about, well, I told him about the cut saws that we have, that I'm part of the affiliation with. I just picked up this guy here. It's a 1/4 inch. It's a taper burr. Nice thick bit that'll get right under for the snake, for the belly and everything. And then all the other ones I still have. Mike from Cutsall, which is the head honcho, was sending me a package, but he got sidetracked, which is fine. That's what happens. And he's sending me a couple more burrs to test out, to try, and also and a shirt. I get a Cutsall shirt, which is awesome. And then I'll have those burrs to show you guys also while I'm working with him, to use them, plus bringing them to different kind of events, which is great because, you know, if you wanted a burr like these, go on the site. When you're done, all you have to do is click on the code and then put RV Woodcraft in. You save yourself 5%. Can't go wrong, 5%, right? I know I do, because when I buy them, I gotta save 5%. What was I gonna say? So the gentleman from the Woodcarving Club invited me to 3 days, the Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday now of next week. Tuesday and Wednesday at the same club, which is in East Kildonan, out here in Winnipeg, Manitoba, and the other one is in Fort Garry. Their members actually wanted to see the bits and the bark, because I'm not involved in any clubs. I don't join clubs. I'm free-spirited kind of man. I do my own stuff, which is great for them because I think that's awesome. Excuse me. So I will be doing a little spiel. As you know, I love to talk. Blah, blah, blah. And yeah, I'm going to show them what I do. Also, what's going to be something new on the agenda is he also asked me if I would teach a course of sorts about what I do, like especially the snake sticks and all that, even with the carvings of this stuff. I'm 100% into it. So maybe next year I'll be part of the group as in one of the teachers. If he thinks that's good enough, I don't know, I'm okay with it. Yeah, I'm pretty happy about that. Okay, so what I wanted to do, because this is going to be a longer video, plus it takes a couple of minutes to stir, is we are going to get ourselves going with the epoxy. So what I do is just get yourself a clean kind of, I got a pill jar here, which is good. It doesn't matter which one you start off with. Here's the hint, or the the thing. Exact same measurements. So if you're gonna put, you know, these things are in ounces. If you're gonna put half an ounce of this, you gotta put half an ounce of the other one. Separate cups, guys. Separate cups. Do not put them in the same cup. Not to do that. So I am gonna do that. I'm gonna go half an ounce on this, and I'll tell you, this stuff it goes a long way. So let's go half an ounce of that. Now you know what? Let's go a quarter ounce. Let's just make sure. We could always use it for something else. So, and then, doesn't matter what kind of epoxy you use. I use the stuff from Michael's for now. Always clean up your bowl, your lip. Put the lid back on. Set that aside. And that's good. Now, you should be mixing this stuff, which I've probably done before. So, which is good. And then add my quarter ounce, I guess you could say, whatever this is supposed to be. And now, it's not exact. I mean, if you're off by a milliliter, a millimeter, whatever you want to call it, a little bit, it ain't gonna kill you. It's not gonna make it any different. Now, again, why I say you gotta mix it in separate cans, because once these two components touch, they start to react. It takes at least a minute to 2 minutes to stir, so we gotta do this kind of quick. So what I'm gonna do is add the first one in. Now, guys, I recommend wearing gloves when you're using this stuff. Right now I'm not touching it directly, but I will be putting on gloves right after I'm done. Try to get as much as you can. You could, I know one thing is to mix this stuff, if you don't mix it long enough, what will happen is it won't bond properly, I guess you could say. And you really want that to happen, guys. Like, I mean, you know, seriously, you don't want this thing to look like crap. So get it all in there like that. Try to get, you know, you want to get the majority, I guess, in it, or basically you want to get it all. Okay, so we're going to do that. There we go. And then dispose of your stuff right away. I got a little big garbage bin, don't do that. And then you get a little on your hands, not good. Get a lot on your hands, not good at all. So this is what we do. Now, yeah, it's going to take about, a minute or two. You really want to get in there, get the sides. You really want to stir that sucker up. Now, using a plastic bowl, I don't know if you can see that in the video, but there's little bubbles coming on. They're coming up, and that's just from them reacting. Using two jars, I only had one of these. You pour them into the other one, pour it back, and it really mixes a lot better. No big deal. As long as you get this mixed very well, which I'm going to be doing, I scrape all the sides, and I really get in there and stir it up, okay, guys? You really want to do that. This amount, so I put a quarter, almost like 2 ounces, it should be in here. It will do a lot. I might have to make some more, but that's okay. But I know it does do a lot. And remember, clean. Make sure it's a clean. This is a pill jar. I wiped it out, whatever. Just make sure it's clean, guys. You really want to get in there. So now you can't spread it anymore, and you know that's just not good. So all we're gonna do is mix, 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 and it's got to turn into a milky white kind of a creation, I guess. I don't know what you want to call it, like a mixture. And don't breathe any of this stuff in or swallow the bubbles. I'll tell you that. So, and this white, you can see how milky it is. It will turn like crystal clear right after. So what we're going to do is finish up, because I think that's about 2 minutes, because I've been babbling. Okay. So all we're going to do is get a little paintbrush, make sure it's clean, and make sure hopefully there's no too many hairs on it. I use a smaller paintbrush for this one. I'm going to wipe the excess off. I'm going to start off with my dragon. So all I'm doing is over a piece of paper. See, it drips. I just want to get, the wings. That was my biggest thing, is the wings not being overly, or I should say, not putting enough epoxy on it, because this stuff actually hardens really well, guys. Like, it does a pretty good job, this epoxy. Again, I'm still waiting for the other business to get a hold of me about their epoxy, which I'm hoping that will be soon. What's happening is I'm trying to get some samples, and you know, that's the way it is in my business, is samples first, and if I like it, and if I make a video of it, then it's a go. Now, Michael's doesn't sponsor me. They have nothing to do with me. It's just that their epoxy is affordable when the coupon comes out. Coupon meaning a $60, 2 bottles like that, that's 60 bucks Canadian. With a 55% coupon, brings me down to $27. And I'll tell you what, guys, that is a bonus, because just like any other business, you really want to save money on making stuff and make a profit, right? That's, I don't care what anybody says, profits are good. We're not going to say no to a profit. Everybody wants to make $1. I mean, don't be greedy. I get it. I don't try to oversell my stuff or overprice my stuff. I just want to, make people happy with what I make. Now, and if you're happy, you'll buy it. If you're not happy, go away. No, just kidding. Okay, so the wings are what I was really mostly into. And then I had this marble put in. Now, I'd really like to put a lot of, not a lot, but enough epoxy against the marble, against his belly. You know what, I'm just going to go ahead and kind of touch under it. This way, hopefully, the marble will stay without problems, right? And I'm just giving it a little wipe just for extras, whatever, you know. We're going to have a lot of epoxy to play with, so let's just do it. And then get them all over, and then get them in there, and then under the belly. Now hopefully that's solid enough to go. Now I will have to keep an eye on this. Even if I put a little bit of epoxy on it, I still have to keep an eye on it. The drips. The gravity takes it down and whatever. So we're going to put it back on its post, on its nail. And we're going to let it sit. We'll touch it up while we're letting it sit. We want to make sure we get a good amount on there. Because once this stuff dries, yeah, it's a hell of a thing to try to go at. So next, we're going to go with this guy. No, we're going to go with the owl. Let's do the owl. The owl, I wanted to see what the owl looked like. And it's got the epoxy on it. Not that it makes a difference on that, but, and guys, the reason I do epoxy, I want my stuff to last forever. Like, this stuff goes outside and it could stay out in the rain, it could stay in the snow. It's good to go. The epoxy will cover it. You know, and it's not going to last forever, but it will cover it. And sorry, I got an itchy nose for some reason. So it will last for a while, and that's what I want. Plus, it gets into the cracks, and it seals it. And I'll show you why on the bird that I did, the heron. I accidentally went just a touch too deep, and what happened was it kind of cracked. Not to the point where it came off, but it did crack. Okay, so there was two things. I could leave it, whatever. I could crazy glue it. I could wood glue it, whatever you want to do. No, what it is when you put the epoxy on, it acts like a bond. So what it's going to do is it's going to seal it, and it's never going to crack. It's never going to fall apart. And that's what we want, guys. We want this to be a good lasting project. Any project. I know I mumble a lot, but I said it before. I cover all my carbons in epoxy. Some people don't like it. I've seen, not that they've overly made comments to it, whatever. They're not. They didn't understand why you'd spend that extra dollar getting epoxy. Well, guess what? I spend it because I think it's worth it. I think giving it to you guys is worth it that way. In the sense that it'll last forever. Plus, it brings out the color. I finally went to my sister's out in Portage la Prairie, and I had to, well, she's been asking me for a while, which I charged her, but I didn't, to epoxy her owl, and that's the owl I sold to her a while back. And yes, I did sell it to my sister because family doesn't get everything for free. Okay, so there's another way of doing this. Like, this was good for, let's say, the dragon. Again, we're going to keep it out like that, the dragon, so we can just touch it up. Best way to do the epoxy, in my opinion, is take a goop with your hand, especially if you're wearing gloves, and get in there. Get in all the cracks. This way, you're covering it all. That's why you cover some at the bottom. It makes a little bit of a mess, but you know what? I'm rubbing it in. Now, I did this to the big owl. Again, like I just told you guys, at my sister's. And if I was to use a paintbrush, I'd be here all day doing that. Ain't gonna happen. Drying time will be fine. The only thing is sometimes if you do this with your gloves, I'll tell you right now, you have to be careful. The gloves will rip. I mean, not careful of your fingers. You really don't want to touch the epoxy too much. What it is it'll rip and it'll stay on your carving, and it's like, oh, crap. And then what we could do after this is, once we get this all rubbed in, so it flows, you can see how it's going. It looks really wet. Well, it's going to stay looking like that, and it's going to preserve it. We're not too worried about the back, though I did get some on it. The back we could do another day if we wanted to, or just leave it. But what I want to do is get this all coated like this. So that works so much better with the glove. Get it in all the little cracks. And I said this before, gravity. Gravity, gravity, gravity. Gravity will want to make this stuff flow. Or the other thing is if you set it down on something, it will keep the puddles kind of in there. Okay? Just try to wipe it all down. There we go. And that, my friends, is, I would say, covered. If I really wanted to, now I could take the brush and I just kind of tap it in there, just kind of wipe it together, make sure there's no big pools of anything, or say we miss some, whatever. Now this automatically just, it covered it. It covered it, so now it's there. It's good. It's good to go forever. Once this hardens up, I've said it before, once the epoxy hardens up, it's like cement. Now, I got a problem. Where am I going to put it? That was one thing I didn't think of, but that's okay. Now, if you're not too worried about, an area being covered with it, it's the bird. Now, I don't know if you can see that, but it's loose in there. It's in there. So this right here is where we are going to harden it up, and it's going to be solid. There's going to be no cracking anymore. Once this dries, it's done. This one will be a little bit different to do. Now, the reason I say different is it's got a lot deeper grooves, right? So getting in there will be a little bit different, but we'll still get her. We'll get her good. I'm gonna get as much everything we can. I'm just doing this to the bird part like this. I guess my main concern is to make sure if I see dry spots, then I know I missed it. So what I try to do is get in there. If I see big thick spots, I try to get in there too. That means I have too much epoxy in one spot, and not enough in others. This is probably one of the most difficult ones I'm trying to do, because these cuts that I put in here are very deep, and the epoxy just wants to sit. Now what we're trying to do is trying to make it run. But there's also, like I said earlier, the torch. We'll have to torch it and get this stuff to run a little bit. The thing about cottonwood is it burns fast. Well, it's bark, right? And if it burns, it'll catch on fire. I mean, when I'm burning my wood, has just to give it that effect. I kind of lost a bit of his nose from it. Not good, because it burnt, and it's kept. I didn't see it, and it was on fire. Call that a dumbass move here in my country. So, whatever, shit happens. Alright, so we're getting there. Now the thing with this is to get as much as you can, like I said. And you want to get the stuff that's too much, you want to get it out of there before it sets, because then it'll just be big and a big glob. Just enough epoxy to do this guy. I think that's where we're at. Alright guys, so that's where we're at. We didn't do him. I think we're going to wait. I don't have enough epoxy, first of all. So what was that? Not that I don't have enough, I just didn't make enough, which is fine. Get rid of our crap back. And yeah, we'll get back to you when it's dry, and we'll show you what it looks like. Alright guys, do your back.